Welcome to the Being Curious Show. I'm Brian Mariani, founder of No Shift Own.
And I'm Kelly Wagner, publisher of Edge Magazine. Our show is about curiously connecting teachers and seekers on a wide range of topics in a safe space. Few topics will be off limits, and we have some amazing guests to share with you.
Our intention is that our conversations will spark your own curiosity to create a life that lights you up and inspires you to be kind, thoughtful, open-minded to yourself and others.
So, Brian, what are you curious about today?
Oh, it's so fun doing these shows, isn't it, Kelly?
I love it. And does everyone see our little set is getting like a little yumminess? I mean, who knew a fake plant and a lamp could do so much?
It's amazing, right?
It has really brought the room together.
It totally has.
It's alive now. It really feels alive.
It does. It does. And our guest, Eric, is also in studio, and there's some orchids kind of in his realm.
Yes,
like, right? Like, we're getting like fancy here. It's so fancy.
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
This
Welcome back.
We're
Welcome back. Brian's back, you
welcome
guys.
back. Oh my gosh, I'm back. It has felt like way too long, and I've missed you and I've missed the show, and I'm happy to be back. And big hello to everyone out there listening. We're so grateful for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Please continue to let us know what you want us to talk about. Tell us about some guests you want us to have on. We just love this show, and we love that people listen to it.
Do you know this is our 90th show?
Is it? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh, someone pull up the
90?
angel number of 9. Right? You and I both went there the same time, Eric, didn't
Yes, absolutely.
we? Yes.
Wow.
Like,
That means
right?
We're close to 100.
We're close to 100. We're going to have to do something magical.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Might need like sparklers and things like
Yeah,
that, right?
definitely. Definitely.
Well, without any further ado, Mr. Eric,
Yeah.
thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my privilege. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys, Eric is, well, first off, let's just say that you're magical.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So are you.
Well, thank you. You are part of the team of the Two Guys in the Know.
Yep.
And you have a magical event coming out
Yes.
in Maple Grove, July 22nd,
Yes.
10 to 5.
Yeah.
Let's plug it a little bit before we ask you what you're curious
Yeah.
about.
Okay.
Okay?
So yeah, this is, I believe, the 6th year.
Nice.
COVID numbers don't make any sense to me anymore.
No, they
but
don't.
This is the 6th year that the expo has been held. This is my 4th year that I there we go. I took over the expo. And so we're really excited. Really, there's, the one thing that I find is there's not a lot going on in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's a smaller expo, yet there's so much to do. People talk about spending all day there.
Yeah.
So we've got great vendors, great providers. So I'm really, really excited.
Where is it?
It's at the Maple Grove Community Center.
Which is a really cool venue. Like, you'd never guess, you guys, community centers are like, but they're so accessible. They're meant for everybody. There's a great space. There's food. There's just everything you need.
Yeah, so much. Yeah, there's so much going on there. It's all really nice. So, and possibly some expansion plans for next year too.
Oh, like, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how do people find out about it?
So go to our website is the best place to do that, and it's just maplegroveholisticexpo.com.
Say that 10 times really fast.
maplegroveholisticexpo.com.
Okay, nice. Ooh, we're already getting the people coming in.
Look
We
at that.
we have Alison James that's just joined us.
Awesome.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you guys, this show is going to be like some of the other shows that we've done when we bring in beautiful ones together for an event, and we kind of do the Hollywood Squares. So we're going to have amazing people popping in, sharing about their gifts and abilities, that they're going to be there July 22nd, 10 to 5. Yep. And we're going to let this flow. So this could be absolute controlled chaos. I have no idea what's going to happen in this show, and that's what makes it so exciting. Just like the event. The event is going to be one of those where anything's possible.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Alison, before we welcome you in, Eric, what are you curious about?
What am I not curious
about? Yeah, I thought that was
the
better question.
But really, I think just what can I do to, to leave a better mark on the world?
Yep.
Leave it better than I found it. And
how do you do that?
I think that these gatherings help of really bringing people that are open to ascension and learning more about their soul, their spirit, and I also own 2 metaphysical stores, so making a space where there is no judgment. That's a really big thing for me because that was something that I did not experience. I experienced a lot of judgment when I joined the quote-unquote community.
Right.
So, yeah.
We'll either talk about that later or we'll just take that and leave it as is.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's fine.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Alison James
Yes.
joining us. Alison, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And I got to apologize. I just got out of the gym and took a quick shower, so my hair's wet. My apologies.
No, I get that as you're clean and fresh. So there.
Yeah.
There you go. I like it. I'll take it. Hi, Eric. Hi,
Hey,
Brian.
Allison.
Hello.
And of course, hi, Kelly. And listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I guess where I'm at today is just to kind of talk a little bit about the show itself that Eric and his partner put on. Why am I blanking on your partner's name, Eric?
It's Bert. Just remember Bert
Bert.
and Ernie.
Okay, yes,
I will never be
And-
able to not etch that from my brain now.
Right?
Okay.
right? Totally. Well, what I really like about this expo is that it's just really low key, but yet, like Eric was saying, there's so many things to do, and it's also inclusive. So no matter who you are, from babies all the way up, and the LGBTQ, I'm missing one I is also very much welcomed and embraced. So please come. There's going to be, oh my gosh, there's crystals, stones, Reiki, massage, irology, let me think, essential oils, of course, us readers. I'll be personally doing at expos, I don't do mediumship or rainbow bridge. That's for your pet who's crossed over. However, I do animal readings. I'm an animal intuitive. I'm also a medical intuitive and primarily a psychic medium. And I've been doing this work for 4 decades. I'm dating myself. And I love it. I was naturally born into it. And I encourage you to go to my website, which is AlisonJames.us. And that's Alison with 1 L. And there's lots of information there, and there's availability for you to pre-book and make reservations, because usually I book up, which is what a lot of the vendors do, is book up. So I highly recommend that you go to their individual websites and see how they're accepting, advanced reservations, and also learn about them prior to coming so that you're prepared, which is always a good thing to be. Let's see, what else can I say? So yeah, psychic readings, I'll be providing, and animal readings. You do not bring your pet, unless, of course, they're a service animal, then by all means. We'd love to have them, and, I love seeing the critters. So please bring them. And Eric, will you be bringing your little guy?
It'll depend. Peanut decides every day what she's going to do.
Oh.
So she's getting a little up there, we'll just say that, and she decides what she wants to do, and if she wants to be there, she'll be there.
Peanut is the cutest little chihuahua you could ever imagine, and just so full of love and exuberance, and you can tell that her dads love the pieces out of her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'd do without her, so yeah.
Aww.
But she usually makes
Eric,
an appearance. Yeah.
I'm curious. Sorry, I just cut right into you. I'm curious about your store in Hudson.
Yeah. So we have been having the urge to expand east for years. I never thought it would have been Hudson. I really had Stillwater on my mind. And we have looked at probably 13 properties. None of them felt right. Ironically, Bert found this property that we're at in Hudson now while I was in the middle of the ocean on a cruise ship.
Oh.
So, and I should say I found it, and Bert then went and looked at it the next day, and I told him, I said, if it feels right, get it going.
Yeah.
So, and, it's been great. We've been open just a little over a month and have by far exceeded any expectations I had for the first month of a store. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's
That's
great.
what we want to hear.
Yeah.
So you actually bring the store to the expo, right?
Sometimes, if something would happen where we have like a last minute cancellation and I have an empty booth and I can't get someone to fill it, we would bring the store there. But this year, I am so happy to say, not only are we booked, we have a huge waiting list. So
That's fantastic.
yeah, and I appreciate all of you that maybe are listening to this that are on the waiting list. Thank you. And like I said, next year maybe some expansion.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay. Brian.
And we're,
sorry.
I'm sorry, I can't remember, Eric, are there workshops?
That would be with the expansion. Right now, just there isn't a great space available to do that in that has like a good traffic flow to not make you have to go up and down stairs, things like that. So hopefully next year, and then who knows what else is in my pocket.
Ooh, Alison might.
Allison might. Yeah. I actually might have a meeting this afternoon about something else to bring forward. So yeah, because I don't have enough on my plate. Why not add a little more?
Always add more.
That's right.
Mr. Brian, you've never met Alison before.
I don't think so, which is
No.
kind of surprising. Are you in the Minnesota-Minneapolis area?
I am, but I do readings around the globe over the phone. So yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. But yes, my home is in Minneapolis, along with my critters. Yeah.
I feel like I've met pretty much all the magical, people through you, Kelly, in that area.
Well, guess what? Today's your day for Alison.
I know, it's exciting. Wait, you
Yeah.
know what? I think did Emily talk about Alison getting readings from Alison?
I think so.
Emily Fossen, maybe.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
It's just
I
how
knew
are our
your name.
beautiful little rings and
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I was
Are all
I've
connected.
I've heard someone singing your praises, and I was like, wait, yeah, okay, there we go. So, anything else about this big event coming up that you want the audience and the listeners, and maybe people who don't know you directly, that you want to share, get people excited?
Well,
Oh, absolutely. I guess you're talking to me, yeah?
Sure.
And
Paper, rock, scissors, you guys.
exactly.
We have 3 minutes
Well,
of segment one, so just let it flow, Alison.
all right, will do. I offer 15 minutes, which that's the only time you can get me for 15 minutes because I don't do it over the phone for 15. My regular business hours, which this is what I do full time. Like I say, I've been doing this full time for 4 decades. And I do not have an office, so the only time you get me in person is at these events, which I have listed on my website, which again is alisonjames.us. I'll plug it twice, maybe 3 times.
Go for 3.
And 3 times, okay. And thanks, Kelly. And so 15 minutes and also 30 minutes. And if I'm doing an animal reading, that's always 30 minutes, just simply because there's more than just the client themselves.
Sure.
There's also the inner relationship with their companions. Like that. And let's see, I keep referring you back to my website because I got volumes of information on there and testimonials, which clients can always tell new clients better than I ever could, what the experience is for them. I'm very much direct in how I work. I'm not a generalist at all, so I want specifics. I don't walk into a room cold, so to speak. So I want to, stay within that. I respect your boundaries. So I don't go wandering around in your soul, your mind, and your body, except for the areas in which you focus on or area. Generally, my readings are focused on one area so that we can get some depth on it, because what we don't realize is for every question you ask, there's going to be 10 more that follow it as soon as you get the information
Right.
From spirit. Yeah. So that's why we have to kind of keep it organized. And at the beginning of every reading, I always link with mind, body, and soul. At the end of the reading, I release that so you can have your boundaries back, which is very, very important. And one thing I want to mention, whether you come to me or any gifted provider at the event or otherwise, you're the boss. The client is always the boss. And you're the one that's responsible for what you're looking for. The problem is when you sit down with somebody and give them nothing, it's the equivalent of going to your doctor and saying, "Hey, doctor, am I sick?" and giving them no backstory whatsoever. Well,
It's true.
Absolutely.
Right? And the thing is,
Psychics in the room all agree.
yeah, so be prepared and take notes. Very, very important. I don't allow recording because I found through the years that you rely on the recording, and here you don't participate as fully as you could during the session because you're going to rely on that recording. And the problem with that is sometimes the recordings don't work, and then you miss the reading, unfortunately. Yeah. Or what can happen is when you're taking your own private notes, you can be writing things that you don't even realize you're writing. And
okay,
you look
Alison,
back
I need you to pause just right there. We'll come right back. Being Curious Show with Kelly and Brian. See you soon.
And welcome back, everybody. We are here with some amazing guests, and Alison, you're on a roll there, so keep it going.
You are. We're like we felt bad breaking your flow. You got it.
Totally.
Oh, no worries. I can pick it right back up again. And that's just like a reading too. If you've had a reading with me before, I can always piggyback on a past reading, but I don't remember readings unless you're sitting with me again. Mm-hmm. And and then I can piggyback and things like that and see what's changed, what's new, what's different, or bring a different topic. So yeah, what I was mentioning is whatever provider you go to, you always want to be prepared. And again, I was talking about taking notes, and I've had clients years later call me or get a hold of me and say, "Oh my God, Alison, what did you write on that paper? It just happened." I'm like, "I didn't write anything. That was yours." So here they were answering their own question in advance because spirit works outside of time. It's nonlinear. So you got past, present, future all coexisting. And my favorite line is when a client sits down, they're like, "Okay, just give me what you got." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. How many lifetimes have you had? And where would you like me to begin?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can go anywhere, as a psychic and a medium. So again, narrow your focus to specifics that you want because you're going to get a better reading out of it. And yes, and with recording, the thing is with that, we have a mind, and our mind deals with logic and reason. Unfortunately, intuition doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. It's a whole different way of knowing, different way of acquiring knowledge.
Right.
And with that, with the recording, you'll listen back to it, and your mind will get involved and start editing what you got. So the true, I can't think of the word, the importance of a reading while you're getting it and how you're paying attention is the most important, and not to edit what you got because spirit gave it to you exactly in the correct manner. Of course, clarity is always welcome. At any time you can ask for clarity with whatever I'm giving or any provider is giving to you. If you don't understand it, ask for clarity. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't need to change, because I've had people in the reading go, "Well, maybe kind of, sort of," and it's like, no, it's either a yes or no.
Yeah.
It's either a yes or no, and don't feel obligated to your provider to be, well, it doesn't fit. That's okay. Because guess what? This is our information when we're getting it. It's yours. So I may get stuff that is so outside of my understanding. It's like I've got a neurologist I work with, and he'll ask me about his client. And when I work with somebody like a client like that, all I need is a first name for privacy reasons.
Sure.
And confidentiality. And with that, I mean, the neurologist may say, "Okay, Jess is his name, and I need to know about the F5 on the 6-3. I have no idea what he's talking about,
Right.
Not even a clue.
Right.
But I start getting information, I provide it to him, and he's like, "Oh, that's great, now ask this." I mean, I get done with that reading. I have no idea if it was good for him or not, but, he keeps calling back, so it must be.
It must be. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Eric, you also have some gifts and abilities, just like, and I'm watching you and Alison be able to yin and yang. How can people come best prepared for this event outside of just an open mind, both of you?
Yeah. Outside of an open mind, I would also say be ready to have some fun. Not to be corny, be curious.
Yeah. Hey,
You know,
we love the be curious. You
That's
just
right.
you just say be curious.
You know, be curious. Be, you know, and that is one of the things with this expo is we do get people that have never experienced this.
Yeah.
But Alison can tell you it never fails. It's on the hottest weekend, and people just come in. It's like even just to cool off. It's like, hey, $5 for some air conditioning. And then they come and talk to us. Oh my gosh, I had such a blast. I met this person. And I will praise Alison. She gets tons of compliments. So she's a vendor that I'm like, please say you're coming back every year. So yeah, just be ready. My biggest thing is be ready to have some fun and have an open mind.
Brian, have you ever been to like a holistic health and wellness fair? I don't know if you've ever like jumped into this or not. I was wondering what you would be curious about.
My dad, as you know, is the health guy, so I've been to.
I forgot.
Now, I haven't been, you know, the more, let's say, magical or, you know, I haven't been to as many of those, but I'm so in that world, as you know. We interview people like Alison all the time, and our dear friend Catherine Taylor opened up that whole world to me, and it's a major part of my life now. So I'm a little sad that I'm not going to be there because it sounds like a great event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
like,
welcome to the fray, Brian. Yeah. What I was going to mention is Eric, a lot of the times, will take video, and Bert and other vendors will take video and post it on, you know, different Facebook pages, Instagram, and that's a blast. I mean, that gives you a real flavor for the event itself and some of the vendors that are there. But yeah, it's an experience, you know, and it's not scary. I think some people think, oh my gosh, it's esoteric, it's devil worship, it's this and that. It's like not even close. I mean, we're just human beings doing our thing, you know. It's our work, you know, it's our job, and so don't be shy that way, and you know, and bring the family. It never ceases to amaze me, Eric, how many families actually come, and they bring the whole group.
Yes, they do. It's so much fun to see that. Yeah.
and a lot of people do
Allison,
stay
have you
all day.
ever-
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
Well,
I was just gonna
We're
say,
all
have
coming
you
at you, Allison, all at once.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I just
Yeah.
had this thought, and you know when you have a thought that you're like, ooh, I don't think I've ever had that thought before. I was just thinking, like, do kids do readings with psychics, or like, have you ever do
Yes.
readings? with kids?
Fantastic question. I actually have a policy, of course, and all my policies are based on fact. You know, that why I have to, you know, elicit that. But the thing is, children, I usually use the parent as proxy because it goes from the parent to the child back through the parent because they have that bond. And with a child, it's the information can be pretty deep, you know, no matter whether they're a child or adult. And I have to do so much editing when I work with a child specifically. So I have determined that over 18 is my preference, unless you've got a really mature child. Because some of this, you know, they can get this magical fantasy thinking sometimes because they're kids, right? And I find that they need to have their feet on the ground first before they start going into the clouds, right? Unless, you know, I mean, yes, I have worked with kids directly, and that's usually been where there's been medical issues or, and I'm a trance medium, so I actually merge with people. So I would merge with that child and be able to read their body and what's going on with that. And so that type of work I'll go direct. But otherwise, generally, I don't work directly with kids that way.
So I will interject, Allison. I've had a session with Allison before, and I had never worked with Allison. And as she connects, this is what she says to me. She's like, whoa, there's a lot going on in there. That's how we started our session together. And I do
exactly Kelly's Wisconsin state. Whoa, boy, there's a lot going on in there.
I was like, oh, we're going to have a fun time together.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of energy. and that's part of with the reading too. And with kids, the energy is bouncing off the walls. So to try to keep a straight line when you're getting information is a real challenge where, if you have an adult, you can be like, you know what, we need to back it up and get back online here and get focused. Mm-hmm. And kids are all over the place, or they're like, they don't know the questions to ask, or they, they're just like, whatever, or I was watching, this on TV and, the Ghostbusters, and do you do that? And, so a lot of times with kids, they just want to, ask questions, not so much get a reading, is what I find.
Oh, that makes sense. Like popcorn.
Well, and I would
yeah.
think,
yeah.
To your point, Allison,
mm-hmm.
a kid wouldn't necessarily know kind of those deep questions to ask, number one. Mm-hmm. And number two, I feel like most adults come in, and maybe you can qualify this, it's like, am I going to fall in love, or it's like a relationship thing, it's a money thing. Those are probably the two most common kind of questions.
Eric's over here agreeing. Like, what else do you want to add to that, Brian?
Yeah.
Well, and Allison, can you confirm that? Is that kind of generally what people are looking for? Or?
Yes and no. People bring everything to the table, and some is not so ethical, which always surprises me, because it's like, well, really? You want me to, it's like with relationships, you're asking about someone else.
Right.
So you can't merge with somebody else that's not your client, because that would be equivalent to walking into their house and going through their files and then telling them what you have in their files. And they're like, oh my God, you're amazing. How do you know that? And it's like, because I'm in your files. And that's just not appropriate. And so how I work with it with a relationship is I'll go to a previous experience where they were actually in the same physical space, apply the questions they're giving me to it, and then see how that works. And it's in a sanctified, I call it my spirit house, where it stays there and I'm not crossing any lines. So relationships are huge. They're massive. And they're, as we know, they're complicated. There's never a simple, it's 15 minutes, fine, no problem. And it's like they're, the client's asking for the world, and it's really an hour or 2 hour reading they're wanting information on. Yep. So you have to qualify the time. But yeah, it's usually relationships, health, business. I get a lot of business questions, or, I'm going for this interview. What do you get around that? Blah, blah, blah. And I may get the players. I may get that, where there might be some pivotal points that they need to focus on, or how to present and things like that. And it can be, I get people with, their diets, I've just gone on this diet. Is this certain food working for me? And I can run it through their body. So, I'll go to each provider is unique, Brian, in how you work with them. And you need to ask them, what can I expect to get, receive from you? But yeah, it's usually love and, sex, right? Or, how am I going to find my person, or is this my person? And then it comes down to, well, I've been out of work for so long, and, am I going to get a job? And it's like, well, what are you thinking about for work? What's your background? Let's have a little backstory and get into that, right? Because again, we can go anywhere. And if we just go in cold, we're going to go to the skeletons or the neons. And a lot of people are like, no, I don't go there.
That's one thing that I would like to add for this day for people as they are curiously coming to the Maple Grove Psychic and Holistic Expo. Again, Saturday, July 22nd, Maple Grove Community Center. As someone that's in this world, and Eric and Allison, just sitting down. So first off, I want to invite you to walk the room. That's what I tell everybody. Walk the room and get anyone that maybe, like, if Allison's list is full, get on it, or anybody else, any of the practitioners that we have. But then walk the room and really feel it, and then sit down with the people that I see it almost like you'll start the practitioner will just start sparkling, or you'll just be drawn to this person, or you'll be really, really, again, I'm sorry, curious about it.
I love it.
But sit down. Don't, even if you're skeptical of, and this is the first time you're sitting down with someone with these that have sharpened the tools of these gifts and abilities. I love what Allison just said about what am I going to expect from this, right? But then also, if the person is asking questions, don't think that it's to try to manipulate you or to stack the deck or any. It's because I love what Allison said about it's like sitting down in front of the doctor and crossing your arms and going, okay, how do I look?
Bert and I use the analogy, it's almost like speaking a foreign language.
Yeah.
So we have to translate what we're getting from your language, essentially, whether that's your thought, whatever's coming from your soul. And we have to translate that to words. Sometimes it's just feelings. I'm getting these feelings. What do they mean? And it really is, you just give what you get. And, it's a cool experience. Even if you are skeptical, I love to work with people who are skeptical because I am a skeptic about some things still.
Right.
And I think that, it's not my job to prove that, hey, this is there. But you know what? If you're skeptical, but you have a healthy, curiosity, exactly. This is great for you. Expos are a great way to start. Expos are not where you want to constantly be doing readings there because they are short readings and we have to cram so much into such a small amount of time.
Well, and as Alison said, and this is someone that this weekend I did a 3-hour private session because I thank you. It kind of becomes mush at the end of that one. But we had what we were going to talk about, and then all of a sudden it's 15 minutes, 45 minutes, and we're still over here. And for people to come in for 15 minutes and go, okay, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, that's a big, 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 big ask, right?
Absolutely.
And to do it at a fair I think it's a beautiful buffet. That's what I look at these fairs. It's just this opportunity just to kind of sample. It's almost like Las Vegas, and you can go to those buffets, and you're like, we're going to go to the pasta area, and then we're going to, I want some pasta, and I want the desserts, and. Okay, you guys, the Maple Grove Psychic and Holistic Expo, very, very soon, Saturday, July 22nd. Mark your calendars. It is at the Maple Grove Community Center, and that's at 12951 Weaver Lake Road in Maple Grove. You can also check it out the website of maplegroveholisticexpo.com. This is wrapping up segment 2, flowing into segment 3. We'll be right back. Gotta love live radio. I'm just kidding. Hey, Brian, bring us in.
Okay. I thought you were bringing us in.
No, I don't want to do that. I want to make it much more complicated than it has to be.
Let's just have the awkwardest 16 minutes of our life. Let's do that.
I love it.
Let's just have a staring contest all around.
Yeah.
Okay, before
Are we in segment 3?
Yeah, we're in segment 3. What segment? What universe? What's going
Are we
on?
actually in segment 3? I have a question.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Here's a question to all 3 of you because you play in the world of giving readings, all of you. So, and this might help with the skeptical people who are thinking about maybe going to this expo. In your varying experience and degrees of mastery within intuition and readings and psychic ability and all of that, have you seen your ability to know like a really, really clear answer to a question get more clear? Or is it better to give more vague answers? Like if I were to ask a question, am I going to get married at 35 years old? And you somehow, you get an answer like, yes, you're going to get married at this day and time. Do you get answers like that, or is it more broad? And if you get an answer like that,
Eric, you go first, and Allison, you go second.
I would, it really depends on the person. Because I have definitely gotten very specific, I remember a travel situation. She's like, I'm debating between flying this flight or this flight, and I need a flight number. I'm like, it's this flight number, take that flight. And she's like, oh my God, you just saved me $700. And I'm like, I don't, I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's not my information. I had a woman that came to me who was just talking about fatigue, constant fatigue. And I'm like, I can feel her heart leaking. And it's not like physically feel it, but I can feel the blood leaking. And she's like, I was just at the cardiologist. They said, everything's great. And I said, that's awesome. Get back in there. Promise me that you'll go back and call me. And she called me and she's like, Eric, there was a tiny, tiny leak. And it would have gotten so big, it would have killed me. So I believe give what you get. And as you're with that client, if things become more specific, keep giving that specific information.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Alison, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I have a lot of them. Well, where do I want to start? Like Eric said, you can get that, but I mean, when you're getting a reading, and this is for skeptics and otherwise, is that what you're looking for is validation, like, oh, I knew that, right? It's like, check, we got it. And then also what I call markers for the future, steps, like say if it was if I got the airplane situation like Eric did, I may ask Spirit where it's like, tell me who's sitting next to them, or tell me what happens in the airport when they get there. Tell me who they're going to be with. And those are all validations that I can validate. And they're like, oh, crap, that's right. They are going with me. How did you know that? And it's like, because I'm already there going with you, because when we're doing a reading, we're looking at the future too. So we're looking at all the steps that you may take to get there, right? Because I had one woman where I got, a clear path for her. She validated it all. But I'm like, you know what? You're not going to do it because I already got you veering off. You don't like to, stay with the line.
Yes.
And she was,
Yes.
man, you nailed it. And I said, all right, let's go that path and see what we get. And it's like, oh, shoot. Now you're going down another. All right. Let's go down this one, So I gave her 3 options, and because, you've got the essence of that individual, 100%. So you know who they are, when you're linked with somebody, and that's the thing is when you are getting a reading, you do want to trust that person as far as you trusting your own tuition because you're allowing them in your soul.
Right.
You're allowing us, your information. And you want to make sure that relationship feels good to you, even if it's for 15 minutes. I mean, if somebody knocks at your door, are you just going to open it up? No, you want to know who they are, or, it's like that's really important to know, or to trust in yourself. I mean, when it really comes down to it, because your intuition will never lie to you. Here's one. Your intuition always comes first, and then you think you made it up because we have a mind.
Yes.
That is healthy, right? If you didn't, you're like, oh, wow, that's just you're in la la land somewhere. Yeah. But, you should have skepticism.
Right.
And, that's a healthy mind. And it can be like, well, where was I going with that? I just lost my trail of thought again. I do that.
Well,
go ahead,
Alison.
Yeah.
What would happen, or has this ever happened, where you get a piece of information and it either scares you or there's some discernment that you go,
oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if I should actually even tell them what I just got. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, lots. Because I get way more information than my mouth could even speak, and so you have to discern, how does this relate to the questions they asked? How does this relate to the area of interest and focus? I mean, do creepers come? Sure. I mean, when I worked for the police, would I get, I don't want to be scary. Well, let's just say get some pedophiles, and they'd want me to relive their glory days. Yeah. And it'd be like, sorry, not going to happen. Yeah. Not going to happen. And so, yeah, you do, as far as a psychic, you got to also protect yourself, right?
Definitely.
Because you again, you don't know who you're going to link in with. But there is stuff like, say, I had a client come to me and ask about her lover, and he had died, and she wanted to know, when did he die? And I said, well, it depends, because he died 4 times. And she goes, that's correct. And I said, well, I'll tell you the first time, the second time, the third time, and the 4th time is when he died. And it was, he was doing steroids. He was a professional bodybuilder. And she wanted to know, that. So it's like, you may get that somebody may die. That doesn't mean they died. It could be they're sleeping. And when we link in with them, sometimes you can't tell, are they asleep or are they out of body? Because when you sleep, you're out of body, right? So you have to discern that. So, Eric, there's a lot of discernment as a reader, in this industry, that you have to discern before you even give the information. And if I get something that's a little dicey, I'll be like, can you give that to me in a different way? That's spirit.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not loving the way you're presenting it, because like people will be asked for mediumship, and maybe they got an uncle that they want to connect with, and that uncle was really brazen and would just say anything, no filter, right? And it's like, dude, I'm not going to give that information.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, that's exactly who he is. And I'm like, do you really want information that's that important from him? If that's who he is. And it's like, oh, I never thought of that. I just thought, when you pass over, you become the grand master, grand poobah. It's like, no, you're still who you are, and that's how we can validate. And so there are things that come up, and people are always scared, like, oh, you're going to tell me I'm going to die. You're going to tell me I'm going to get sick or whatever. It's like with the medical stuff, I may get, that there's potential for cancer in a particular area in their body. And I may ask them. I ask a lot of questions. It's not that I don't have the answers, but it allows that client to be like, I don't know if I want to know, or what do you see in Alison? And, kind of like Eric said, with the medical stuff, if you get it, you get it. And it's, again, the carriage in which you give it. It has to be ethical.
Right.
Especially if somebody's scared, you can pick up on all that. And it's like, well, let's look at some of the steps, or maybe I'll look at the doctors. I had one child. This is a long story, but I'll shorten it real quick. I had clients come to me, and I work one-on-one, and I got that they had a baby that hadn't eaten, and that was literally failing to thrive and was very close to death. And what I got was, I said, you actually have a team of 4 doctors. I'm going to tell you the one doctor. And I started chuckling a little bit, and they're like, it's not funny. And I said, no, it's not funny, but I'll tell you why. Because her name is Dr. Brown, and she's brown. And she was talking about this experimental medication, and this is what she said to you, how it will play out, if you give this to your daughter. And when I run it in your daughter's body, this is what I'm getting. And they're like, that's exactly what she said would happen. I said, now you've got all the validations. Instead of them being scared about that challenging treatment, we were able to get the correct doctor and the medication and things like that, and then after that, they asked me very, very specific questions, because they're like, oh my gosh, okay, this isn't scary. And it's like, no, it's not. If you go to a reading and it gets scary, you have every right to go, wait a minute, I'm not liking where this is going, as a client, or, can we change it? Can we go somewhere else? Because ultimately we all have free will, right? Right, Eric, Kelly?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's super important, but when you're getting the information, you need to listen. And that's one thing where, because sometimes people want you to tell them what they want to know, what they want to hear. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And it's like, well, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to back it up. I'm going to still say what I'm saying, because, when we get information from spirit, that's from spirit. It's not us, and it's not projections, and we're not psychotherapists. And that's a big one, Eric and Kelly, that people want to have talk therapy. That's not what we do. We're here to provide information. That's it. And so part of that, it's a team effort when a reading is happening. And I always try to keep it as upbeat as I can, because sometimes people will, with a 15-minute reading, right? They'll bring, huge stuff,
Right.
like massive. And it's like, oh, wow, I'm not thinking this is the place or time for that. You need about an hour to, address these things. But it's not that we just dive in and grab something and then, throw it out there, because like Eric was saying, it's not our information.
Right.
And so if I do get something that's feeling a little scary or dicey, I may ask them if they want me to continue.
No, that's great.
Or,
Alison, how do people get a hold of you? How do people get a hold of you?
AlisonJames.us. And I've got a contact form on my website, and I have all the information. All the booking is done from there. I don't handle any of the booking. I just pick up the phone when you call in. So that's how you can get a hold of me. Go to my website. I got volumes of information on there, and Eric probably has the same on his, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on today.
Yeah, thanks,
My pleasure.
Alison.
Toodles. See you at the expo.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Oh my gosh, that was so generous of
Yeah.
Alison to do what she did and offer that time with us today. I want to go back to your 2 stores.
Yeah.
Make sure people know about it, how to find you.
So yeah, the stores are called Awakenings, Gifts, and Guidance for the Soul. And that is the full name of the store. Everybody's like, aren't you just the Awakening store? No, that's another store.
Yeah.
So we have 2 locations. Our first location was in Minneapolis and still there, obviously. It's at 42nd Street and Minnehaha, so 4165 Minnehaha Street.
Nice.
South Minneapolis, Minnehaha Falls Airport area.
You're the closest to the airport and the Mall of America, aren't you?
I think we are. Absolutely. Yeah, you know what? As you say that, yeah, we are. So, great store. I'm not there as much right now, but I have an amazing staff who I trust 100% to
Give a call out to your staff.
Yes. So Heather, Emily, and Linnea, and soon to be Lydia. Crossing fingers.
Nice. Absolutely.
So we're really excited. They're great people, and they're what allow me to be in Hudson and get Hudson off the ground. So Hudson, we have that great store. It's 421 2nd Street in Hudson, and 2nd Street is just the main street of Hudson. It's the downtown, cute. Everything you could imagine is down there.
Yeah.
It's just such a great fit. I just fall in love with it.
Oh,
every
yeah,
time I'm
Hudson's
there.
great.
I was there this morning for a little bit, and I'm just like, I love it here.
Okay. We are like, Alison was so amazing and generous.
Yes.
But we didn't get to talk about all the things that we want to talk about, but it's okay because I think we really opened up a door for curiosity for people to come to the event.
Absolutely.
Again, you guys, it is the Maple Grove Psychic and Holistic Expo, Saturday, July 22nd at the Maple Grove Community Center. I mean, I think Alison gave you this beautiful just snapshot and sampling of like, if you're curious at all, and that is the caliber of people that you're bringing together for this beautiful event. Psychics, mediums, healers, alternative health therapies, rocks, crystals, and gemstones. I mean, I'm sorry, you can never have enough of those.
Heck no.
I'm just a little biased, right? Metaphysical and spiritual products, jewelry, essential oils, little CBD, lotions, other products.
Yeah.
Amazing people. Saturday, July 22nd, 10 to 5.
Yeah.
And again, you guys, Awakenings. There's a lot of places that you can find metaphysical supplies. You can buy them online, but I don't really want to lean into that because you've got to feel it. You've got to, any whether it's a book or cards or a crystal, or you really have to feel it and love it.
Yep.
So Awakening Store, again, locations in Minneapolis and in Hudson. Awakeningsmn.com is the website for more. Eric, thank you so much for being in here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Again, you guys, check it out. Saturday, July 22nd. Check out their stores. Check out their show. The beautiful offerings and magical. It is the Being Curious show. We are so grateful that you came in today and listened. And thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you soon.